Hello
viewers, we're in another show of new business. We're talking about how we can start a business, how a business should work in the new world. I have Dr. Michael Laitman with me in the studio. Hello. I have Igor Litvinov, economic consultant. Hello. We heard your explanations in the previous shows about the connected global world, that we have to go towards a new era in the whole business world. I want to understand, today the business world is a very central part of our life. There's a lot of stuff going around. Everything revolves around the business people. We always ask people where they work. It's a very central aspect of our lives. The changes that we're going through now, how are they going to influence the business world? Humanity is advancing through its growing egoistic desire. That's how it's been for thousands of years. This has pushed us to all kinds of businesses to develop, and all was fine until you built, I'm saying you, in the first program we came out guilty. You built, especially in the last 200 years, you can say a system that is a lie, that's a mistake, that works completely on money, that's completely disconnected from life. You're playing with money how you feel like, and the profit that comes to a person or to any business is not the profit, is not from what the business gives, but because they're playing with papers, moving them from here to there. Therefore, actually, all these things have reached such a conclusion so quickly. They had to reach a conclusion anyhow, because in the plan of creation, a person has to go through this whole process of recognition of evil and rise up to a new stage. Before us, there's a drastic change, major. I've been talking about it for decades, and now, thank God, we're starting to see something that I've been talking about. It's coming. It's being realized. So I say future businesses, they are businesses that are built according to new values, not according to the profit that you will have in the bank, like a business that works on green bills, but rather the profit that you get from the environment, appreciation from the society, nothing else. Now, based on this, you can take shares, say, how much the $1 is worth in the appreciation of the society, $1, million dollars. It's all valued by the society, that people will take these values into consideration. Kids will say, my father is worth $1 million. My father is worth $1 billion. It means that my father gives us is giving humanity $1 million. He is influencing society that much. Not that we have more. Not to the extent that my yacht is longer or my building is higher or something like that. No. More or less, everyone will have the same. But rather, how we are valued in the eyes of society, that's what will motivate a person and push him to discover himself and work hard. How he can influence society more. And the appreciation from the society is what will give him fuel, motivation. And not how much money he has in the bank, because that also relatively is a very foggy thing. How much money you have, how much business you have, it's just a game, nothing else. A person himself doesn't need that to that extent. It's all just one big bubble. So we need to understand that pleasure is pleasure, and it remains. And the appreciation from the environment, it will change. and nothing else. So according to that, maybe it will be easier for you to understand that businesses will remain, those that truly are good for society, first of all. Their profit will not be by someone gaining a lot and somebody losing a lot, but it must be an integral value, meaning equal, balancing, something balancing humanity at the end of the day. But competitiveness, who can help society more, in what sector, in what manner, it's so characteristic of a person that will remain. Just the salary, the profit, will get a different shape. Today you work also. What do you have? You have another million. Where are they? You're burning yourself at work. You're always flying here, there. You're doing something great. Keep doing it. Nobody's stopping you. But instead of getting papers in the bank, and you see how much it's worth now, you will get appreciation from the environment. Your name will be known to everyone. Your kids and everyone close to you will enjoy having a father like that close, and so on and so forth. And this is actual things, more than money. This is what fills a person. Your ego will be filled, and you will be able to continue. Just the salary itself will be different. In your feeling, it will be much more than now. By the influence of the environment, a person who starts crossing from the salary, the profit that he's being appreciated in values, in dollars, and crossing over to appreciation of the environment, people bowing down before him on what he's doing for everyone, it's worth a lot in his eyes. That's how we're designed. So we're talking about the ego and the great filling we receive, and competition, and how, again, in appreciating businesses, we're going to have to appreciate them according to how ecological it is, clean, organic, how much it's not damaging humanity at the end of the day, that not on the account of other people or on account of nature, damages that you don't care about, but rather everything will be calculated at the end of the day, how much you are contributing to humanity. There's lots of businesses that will fall, and there's a lot of things already going down today. There's businesses that won't be able to exist or will need to change themselves. We are before a huge transformation, revolution. So if there's an element called money that making this whole thing run, we're taking out the plug called money and we're putting in the plug called appreciation from the society. Let's say it's the money. Let's say in the bank, appreciation of the society. That's what you have in the bank. It's worth much more. You feel it even more. Because with money, you have all kinds of people that are taking into consideration, hating. Here you really gain a good status without any chance of being hurt, just the opposite. I'm having difficulty understanding. If before we looked at the bottom line, the money in the bank, but still, I have to, in relation to somebody, get to good appreciation. There's businesses that you check them according to their effectiveness, just like you check them now according to their effectiveness. But their effectiveness will include inside it, inside the calculation, is it ecological? Is it not damaging other people? And in total, this business will be advanced. They'll be considered. Other businesses will get higher taxes. They'll have all kinds of problems that they'll need to improve themselves. But from the perspective of the ecological system, I can understand. It's not just ecological, it's according to the general system, how much they are benefiting humanity. Today you don't care. Today you wait until all the ice will melt from the north, and then you can drill holes there and then get oil out. You don't care that there'll be a flood throughout Europe and Africa. You don't care. As long as you reach the oil and sell it and build yourself a castle on some deserted island. So these things will be seen as negative businesses, and they will not get appreciation. They will get punishment, taxation, until they go down or transform themselves to the correct business. Okay, maybe here we'll introduce the sustainability trend in businesses. It's talking about exactly these things, looking outward, not looking at my personal profit. I'm looking at the system, the whole world. All the resources in the world belong to everyone, and I am trying to get the maximum profit, but without damaging the environment. You stay in the same framework that's making money and not getting the appreciation from the society. Let me explain this approach to you. It exists for many years. It's very extreme. There's a very extreme part. There's already corporate responsibility. There's understanding. A few years ago, it was just a few companies. Now today, there's laws about green economy. They're talking exactly about the things you're talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. That's all a small correction, not to damage nature so much, and also from that to profit. I don't think it starts. You can see it as some middle stage. I see, in principle, nothing changing here. And these green businesses are damaging nature more than they're bringing advantages. We see that in many places. That's correct. And they're saying it's just lip, but there's still an awareness here. And it started in the 80s. And there are organizations that when they started their activity, nobody looked at them. Let me give you some names. Zeitgeist. I know them. The laws of nature. The people from the movement, they need to... The dividing people by nationality, etc., is outdated and are preventing the development of society. They claim that it's impossible to continue existing without matching ourselves to the law of nature, where a person has to be good to his fellow man, etc. This is maybe a very extreme example where they're talking about canceling money, canceling commerce, canceling borders, geographic borders. All resources belong to everyone, not any single person. And gradually, it was seen as very extreme, and now, since there's no other option, people are going in that way. I know the owner. I had an interview with him in New York. What is there about this approach? This approach talks in a very clear manner to business people about the fact that there are steps. We're starting, okay, green business. Yes, they're doing more damage than good. The bus company in Israel, supermarkets, what's not good in this transformation stage? We're going in this direction. We're getting to a direction where we're lowering our consumption, everything that you said. We'll put taxation. There'll be a system that will support this. No. It's a lie. It's a lie. Just like you want to do. You want to lie to everyone and yourselves that you are changing something. The money is at the foundation of it. Very simple. You are not changing the foundation, which is money, monetary profit, and that's it. The fact that I'm adding to it my factory, all kinds of green steps, that doesn't say anything. It's nothing. You just want to demonstrate yourself to society that you're putting lamb's wool over the fox. It's not just a stage. It's not even in the direction, because that's not your goal. It's not your goal. You're not going here in steps, taking the whole thing into account, where you know you're going to a certain destination, that you're changing the inner character of business. Instead of being egoistic businesses, they'll be altruistic, humane businesses, social businesses. There's no such thing. You are not capable, the economists, business people today are not capable of thinking in this direction. And that is why you have to go through the integral education. That's why we're talking about it all the time. Without that, it's impossible to talk to you. I'm sorry that I'm saying that. It's okay. We're used to it. I want to go back to this thing about appreciation by society. This is what will motivate the business world. Can you explain it a bit? It's very complex. What does it mean, appreciation from society? I have a business. I make glasses. I sell them to a certain consumer. Where does the society come into this? How much are you contributing to society? Doing good for society. What does that mean? I don't know. You should tell me. According to the new economic perspective, what does that mean? I'm saying to you, we have to check the business, the owner, everyone, only according to this. That's it. Let's say you check today what a business needs, what it really needs. Let's say a business needs cups. And you make cups. You don't make them to sell more. No. You produce them to benefit society more, to the extent that they need them. And if there's enough, and you're not producing anything new, then you don't make a business. You look for something else, in another way to contribute to society. You don't go into competition with someone, break him in, just to sell your cups. You have no one to sell to, because the profit is not in money, and not in the quantity of cups. The profit is in the profit of the society. So in other words, I have to identify something that the society needs. I started from a question, and I didn't really get an answer. The business world today is much huger than it needs to be today. Taking into account what you say, 90% is redundant. What will there be room for? Just to give us what we need and that's it? We will need to reduce this bubble right down to the balanced economy. Balanced. What does that mean? That we don't do it on account of the planet, on account of the resources, and just things that we don't need, that we're really destroying the air, the earth, water. We are producing for ourselves the amount we need, 7 billion people. You want it or not? The nature will do what it has to do. That has to be clear. It will start destroying businesses and business people, and then everyone together will, when we start collapsing in a very serious way, or we will start minimizing ourselves, bringing ourselves into the new education, new perspective, develop new programs, new economy, the balanced economy. There's no other place, and we see that the earth can no longer handle it. There's no place on earth for excess businesses, only those that humanity needs for living in harmony, in normal, balanced life. Nothing more. I have no problem with the balanced economy, but I don't understand a system. Like, say, me and Ophir are in a balanced economy. We're starting appreciating the society for the good of society. But still, I'm an egoistic person. Exactly. You're an egoist, and you're looking to see how you can benefit everyone in order to get back from them filling. I have no problem with the environment, but do I have to run over Ophir so that he can't compete with me? No. Not to run him over, but you're competing with him who's benefiting society more. There is competition, but not running him over. If you run someone over, you're already can't be part of the integral world. Competition, yes. There's competition in our body between different systems, cells, but not by elimination, not in a way, not in a forceful, aggressive way, not in a lie, but rather in a direct manner, that there really is competition between his cups and your cups. Who is benefiting society more based on the effectiveness of the business, etc.? Yes, you made it cheaper, you made it more convenient, better quality, and in a way that's more suitable for people. So there has to be a system that will organize integral competition. There's a cover for your ego that receives filling for sure, but it's measured in other ways. Of course, with pleasure, with appreciation, with a feeling of fulfillment, with a feeling of respect, etc., etc., as money is supposedly doing today. I would like it, with your permission, to go back to the question. What you said reminds me of other approaches that exist. What is it different? Because we hear the same words and the same words here and there. So in that case, let's jump to the new world. Without on the way building the stages in between. In the new world is a world, it's a business world where businesses are only for the good of society. It's an integral world where there can't be an act but from a person that causes damage to the world, to society, to others. And for that we need a new education. That's the main thing. We need a new man. You can't just take the same factory, the same business, and say from now on, we appreciate you like this, you're going to get these kind of taxes, etc. No, it doesn't work like that. It's still a new world. You have to understand, erase all the businesses today. Let's say, if you would transfer all the businesses that exist today to the government, and then it would only leave businesses not just for nothing, but to supply the citizens with all the necessities they need. Then instead of thousands of types of cottage cheese and cups, you would produce the things that they decide in the parliament, 20 kinds of dairy, 20 kinds of cups, etc. And that's it. That's it. There's nothing else. Nobody has the right to open another business, because every extra business, all these things are excess, and in the end only cause damage to the world. That's it. The world competing on ego, money, developing businesses, bubbles that we don't need, on account of the environment, society, ecology, that's over. That's over. If we don't want to minimize that, then nature will do it through a crisis that will break us and bring us to a complete collapse. That's quite similar. I don't care what somebody says. Don't give me examples of people saying. I'm telling you what I think will happen. And I said it 20 years ago. And now it's already starting to happen. I'm not proud of it. I don't want to be correct. I just want us to understand as quickly as possible what we're heading toward. I want to put things in the right proportion. There's no proportion here. You don't understand. Guys, you still, excuse me, you're not being realistic. You're the most unrealistic people in the world. You're still holding on to the previous method, and in that you're ruining the world, and you think it will remain, but it won't remain. Stop being dreamers. It's you, the fantasizers, the greatest fantasizers. You really think the world still advances the way it did 100 years ago, according to the same things. In the 50, 70 last years, you made one huge lie with money, with businesses, all kinds of things. You went like little kids into competition, into all kinds of things that are just bubbles. Today they're running from corner to corner like little kids. And all kinds of things that there's absolutely no need, just to be proud. Thousands of companies on the same thing, thousands of commerce channels, and it's just a game. It's not commerce and it's not a business, it's just a game, a childish game, and it's over. That's what I see. Excuse me, I'm looking at you like little kids that mommy is still saying, stop, you need to go to sleep. No, we want to play more. Play. What can I do? Play. But really, that's how I see you. At this whole world you're part of. You think that you, like he said, it takes up so much place in the world. You're right. This game, it's for a child, it's his whole world. I understand him. But in my eyes, it's really marginal and damaging and nothing else. That's how I see it. So stop and understand that you have to grow up and understand what's happening with the world. And you can't be bigger than the laws of nature. No, we need to do something here. No, it's not okay. Can't be like this. That's how it will be. That's how it will be. With the same people, I met them in New York. You can see the footage. In our studio in New York, I talked with them and with professors and everything. Everyone looked at me. It was 4 or 5 years ago, I think, even less. They looked to me like a crazy person. What crisis are you talking about? With him, actually, the Zeitgeist guy, I had a bit of a common language. But the other guys, most of them looked at me like, look how nice everything is. What are you talking about? Up till half a year ago, people spoke with me like that. Oh, there was a crisis, it's over. So we either approach this in a realistic way, and I'm more realistic than you, and see, we don't want to close our eyes, but we see where we are, or continue being stubborn. I have nothing to say. You think you're managing the world. That's not right. You see, over the last few years, the world is operating according to its own laws. But in the last 100 years, you came into this like spin that you can do whatever you want with your businesses without taking anyone into consideration. It's over. That's it. Enough. The game is over. I want to understand now the new trend. Why don't you look at all these businesses like a big game, like a big bubble? These kinds of shares and those kinds of shares. You blew everything up out of proportion. There's lots of industry that deals with producing things, but I'm talking about all the banks. There's finance that has gone out of proportion completely, but much more than you mean. 90%. You're saying 10%, and I'm telling you 90%. You blew out of proportion. You made out of the banks, out of money, all those things. You made something that is completely not supporting the necessary business for the environment. That these kind of businesses developed up till the end of the 19th century. Necessary business. Then the competition started with Ford, and then it started the whole, like in the last 100 years. There's no need for it. Just profit, profit, profit. Period. at any price. You will have to climb down from there. The crisis will bring it about. Let's think how we can do it in a gradual manner. Go down in a gradual manner without huge crashes. You'll see what's going to happen in Europe soon, how it's going to come apart, and there's going to be a tsunami throughout the world as a result. Then the next wave will come from the other side, from America, from China. Stop at any price holding on to what we have. We have to think in a new way. Okay, on this point of thinking in a new way, I want to go back to your approach and let's see how we can realize it. You say there's an industry that developed out of proportion, that's not connected to reality, and that's the financial sector. I'm saying all industry will take on a new approach. Not that it will minimize itself. What will traditional industry that really created products for improving life? He also did it for their landlord, for their profit. We've developed a certain standard of life. 200 years, you lived in a completely different standard of life. And in 200 years from now, we'll also live others. But I mean, the standard of life improved. People have more options. That's right. Things are developing, right? In industry. As a result of industry. No, no, no. I'm telling you, the foundation itself, you want to say like this. You're saying, you want to live well? You have to protect me. Not exactly. Sir, listen. I want to say there's financial industry that even the experts are saying it's completely out of control. But I'm talking about the approach, the general approach that I want to profit. And this profit and this approach, my profit will be for the good of humanity, for the good of society. And I personally don't get anything out of it apart from respect to the extent that I benefited society. I have a regular apartment, I have a car if I need one, work, I need all kinds of stuff. But how will you buy them? In your business, there's no money. There's a thing called valuation of society. There's no money. Hang on a sec. I don't understand how the new business works. Just only valuation, or there will be some kind of motive of money? So how will you buy a car? That I will get, like everyone. I will get options by the same as the options that everyone gets to buy stuff. Or I get from my work. I'm the head of the factory, so I even have a plane. It doesn't matter, but it's according to the business, to the extent that I contribute to society. And not that I just take a few million on the side and do what I want. I'm like stealing out of the lie that I did for others. So we're going back to exchange commerce. I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I don't want to get into it. I'm just saying that the world has to get into harmony. That everyone in the world, we're talking about a huge jump, a huge leap. That at the end of the day, everyone will have the same standard of life. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are. Why do you deserve more? You deserve more to the extent that you contribute to society. But according to your body, you're like me. Why do you deserve 10 meals a day? Feel bad for yourself. It's not logical. We're all like animals. We need to receive like we need. We need an apartment and a car. According to what society decides, according to the general conditions. Ecology. We have one planet. It's not like you're going to open more banks or all kinds of new businesses. That's how it is. So now it's starting to pressure us. The society, the planet, everything is starting to apply pressure. The planet, I'm developing technology, and the people are developing technology to maintain the planet. Is there a place in the New World? No. I'm developing stuff to save gas, to save resources. You won't need to consume so much oil. You don't need it. But your plane needs gas if you're going somewhere, but if you're not, you don't get it. What I'm saying is, we're mixing up between positive things and negative things that are coming out. We're saying everything is negative. You blew the world so out of proportion. You organize people for all kinds of things, that they need 2 or 3 cars in the family, that they need all kinds of things. You did this, they need to fly here, fly there. You did that to sell more. You brought all this on to make a profit off of them. And now you're saying, but how are they going to do it? They won't do it because it's damaging. They won't do it. In order to live well, they won't do it. And you don't need so much gas or anything. It'll be over soon. And look what you have this year with the crops, with the corn. The world is going to die of starvation. These are known things. Known. Everything is known. Everything is known. What are you going to do? Another big commerce, another big profit. We'll find something to replace it. Biotechnology. We don't need biotechnology. Don't destroy the world to correct it after. You destroyed it. To make a long story short, everything is going back to the way it was. It's not like we're arguing about which plan is better. Like, I have a plan and you have a plan. There's a plan between us that will come to be realized. And we just need to recognize it, nothing else. So by starting to recognize it, we have options to become closer to it in easy steps, so we won't suffer so much. So you, first of all, that you will get into the integral education. Nothing else will help. You're still hearing a little bit, but others can't hear at all. Until there isn't a total collapse, nothing will happen. And it will happen soon. Now we want, I've convinced that we have to start processes. Why don't you want to recognize another system? So we don't have a picture of it. You're saying appreciation of society. You don't have any model that you can show us how this thing was going to work. You need to study, and together we'll build it. Today we'll build a template. You want to give me a system that has there's a method that brought humanity to a certain place to collapse. Okay, to collapse. And now you're saying there's another method. We don't know where it will lead us. That's called the appreciation of the society. And we don't have a model built like you built here. But to build it, you need to think in a new way. You need to think of in a new way. So that's why you first need to get an impression what the integral education is, the integral world. So you'll have a different perspective, and out of this different perspective, you'll develop a new economy, new approach, new business, your new business world of banks and everything. Why not? But according to the new criteria. So what is integral education for businesses? First of all, to understand what's happening with us in the system of nature. Right now, you're in a financial and economic crisis. because society is behaving as if, according to its laws, and you, what you built in your system, want to manage it according to your system. And there's a huge gap between the social system and the financial system, and no one's aware of it. The humanity has gone into a new era. And that's why these two systems can't come together. And that's what the crisis, that's what's bringing the crisis. Until you begin changing and bringing your system closer to an integral system, the connected, integral, equal world, nothing will happen. We won't understand one another. I'm talking from the side of the society. You're talking from the financial, economic, fake side that you built. And you're saying, we just need to bring things down a little bit. You're right. We just need to get rid of the fat and everything else is fine. But look what you have. The value of society is not a fake thing. No, it comes from human nature. Human nature, and that is the only thing that is working now, and not money. You are still, it's decades already that you are still going according to monetary evaluation. And that's why the whole world is going down further and further since the middle of the previous century. What you explained is clear in general. What is the integral education for a business? I own a business. I want to start. You have a new business? No, it's an existing business. No, sir. You need to, in order to be the owner of a new business, you need to be new yourself. So we thought we want to start a business. You can't, but you're with us. No, we have a job for you. You're the development manager. We see that you have a nice strategy, clear strategy. We want together to start a business, the three of us. We have money, we have, don't worry, we have lawyers and everything. You're covered. You're the strategy guy. You understand where the things are heading in the world. So now I want to ask you, what has to be the goal of our business? Benefiting society in the maximum way. Profit, zero. Monetary profit, zero. This sort of money, there's means, let's say like money, means that allow us to get appreciation of society. In business, you can measure according to some, don't call it dollars so we don't get mixed up with the dollars of today. But you need this and this, you need to be able to measure work, energy, all those things. You need to be able to measure it somehow. So call it. Not money and not euro, but I don't know. Benefiting society measurement. Some way to quantify how you're benefiting society. How much it costs you to produce the cup and shipping it, selling it, etc. Until you bring it to the consumer. Everything has to be measured. The account is an account, competition is competition. But the competition is from a different point, that both of us want to benefit society. And then each of us tries to bring that cottage cheese to the supermarket in the cheapest manner and in the most effective and good manner. And I have my cottage cheese, you have yours. We submit it to some place in the country, like in the Ministry of Health, and they check which is better. And whoever's better stays, and who isn't goes. So our goal in this business, in the new world, is to be maximum effectiveness for the society without any calculation for myself. Who determines what is? We have a business. We can think, we might think we have something that's effective for society, but I just gave you an example with the cottage cheese. There's an organization, but that's the second stage. After we decided that we're making cottage cheese, that's the process. But I'm asking a stage before we decided to make cottage cheese. Let's say there's a guy making cottage cheese. Out of your desire to benefit society, you also want to try to create cottage cheese, or to join him and help him create a cheaper, more effective, healthy cottage cheese, or you want to make another line. Maybe there's room for me also. So you check. That's it. Just like today, you check the market. Is it worth it, not worth it? How much do I invest, etc.? Go ahead. Today I check it monetarily for profit. Here's also profit. How much, and here the profit is how much society will appreciate this. Is your product better for society? Or you should check if the society wants cottage cheese with garlic or some other spice. And you check, and based on that you succeed, but you get zero profit. You get paid for the factory, maintenance, etc. But at the bottom of the line, you have zero. Like a non-profit association. So what will motivate a person to open a business and to go into competition? What will motivate him? What motivates him today? Today he wants to be valued by society as a result of how much money he has. But this will be much more than money, give him much more than money, to the extent that with his entire heart wants to benefit society. Today is also valuation, how much I screwed everyone. That's how many people hate me. That's how I'm valued today. And society is built in a way that raises each of these people and really appreciates them, etc. So now we're talking about the new parameter being maximum effectiveness for society, how much we can contribute to society. That's where we're going. We have no preference. We just need to look. After the integral education, you won't think otherwise. Why? I don't understand. What is there about the integral education that you will look at everyone like they're your family? You look at everyone like your family, relatives, your parents, your children. The integral education will give you a feeling that the whole world is integral. The butterfly effect, mutual connection, there's no other way but to look at everyone like that. I'm talking about long term, of course, but that's what we need to reach. Our ego that began developing thousands of years ago, that's what it needs to reach, precisely to that form. Because in that, it will get the perfect filling. Precisely in that, it will get the perfect filling. No one's screwing him, no one's killing him in the street. Kids aren't hitting each other, fighting. There's nothing here. In this world, I have to be protective all the time. I have to be in fear all the time. There's no such thing. A new world with none of that stuff. So I am a business owner and I'm getting this education, integral education. You're explaining to me the new world. That's the content that there will be in the new course. And then I'm going to come out of that and develop my business with a social perspective. Doesn't it depend on how people are ready? It depends on education. When a kid is born, how ready is he? It depends how you educate him. That's what will happen. For sure, according to all the research, according to what we learn, psychologists, sociologists, they'll tell you it all depends on the environment, what environment the kid grows up in. So I want to go back to our picture of the business. We saw what the society's need is, and that's where we're putting our management capabilities. You're still working for that at the moment. Nowadays, you work to fill your ego. I want to be great. I want to be known. I want to feel full. I want to feel fuller. There's nothing else motivating you except that. We imagine that we're working for these papers in the bank, but it's only for our feeling. So here you have a feeling that fills you. This is what Igor asked at the beginning. We talked about the crisis being as a result of me being egoistic on the one hand, and on the other hand, the system is interdependent, and there's like a conflict between these two systems. The individual is egoistic, and the society that's interconnected. So instead of the ego, we're putting valuation of society, but we're still competing. How does this thing synchronize? It's not true that instead of money, now you're getting like those primitive people got bits of glass from Columbus or something. Instead of gold, all kinds of rubbish. You're not exchanging one coin for another. You're exchanging the goal. The goal. Instead of filling myself with all kinds of things, silly things, that there's nothing in them, I'm filling society and I'm getting pleasure from that. The change is it's the essence. Is in the essence, because our ego enjoys it. My ego will enjoy the valuation of society, of course. Let's start. Now I'm going to start putting up all kinds of notices, who you are, what you are, tell your kids that your kids are in school. We'll tell them, let's see you tomorrow with all your millions. Where are you going to run off? We'll organize it also wherever you go. There's nowhere to go. You understand that at the end of the day, you're looking for pleasure, filling. And it's completely dependent on society. If society starts humiliating you, you'll hang yourself with all your millions of dollars. Nothing will help. Okay, there's lots of examples from your world. But what's the egg and the chicken? If the society does not appreciate what I do, if I do what you suggest based on the course, so they're going to say, look at this loser, he's doing everything and not getting anything in return. No one will say that to you. No. Start doing it. Do something for society. Nobody will say you're a loser. I just won't survive in this world. If I come with the approach you're explaining, in 2 weeks, all my competitors will eat me up, and it will be like until they collapse. Wait. What competitors? All these competitors, everyone that's in competition with one another in order to profit off one another, that's destroying one another and nature, not doing it for society, all of them will all be cleaned out. They'll all go through the filter. There'll be nothing left to them. Just like in a factory. The ones that go through the little holes. We have to wait for them to get through the little holes, or do we have to try to bring them? We have to look. This is what we're looking for. How to make the transition. To tell you that I understand? No. In order to make the transition, we need to be integrated in both worlds and see what steps, gradual steps, we go through from the egoistic business world to the altruistic business world. And that I don't know. We will need to get to want to build it together. What will be the pace? Does anyone control the pace? Yes. The problem is that a person can't see this picture clearly. Maybe it sounds nice and good and pleasant that we'll replace money with this, but there's no clear picture in front of a person's eyes that he can say, okay, I'm going for it. How can we make it clearer for him? If you would talk about it 100, 200 years ago, or even before Marx or the Middle Ages, then I understand you. But today, the world is obligating us. There were people that used to think ahead, how can we live with our ego, with human nature, but in another way. So they dreamt of all kinds of things. Today it's no longer a dream. Today you have no choice. But today you have to go according to necessity in order to survive. What will control the pace? Education. To the extent that we will be able to get rid of all these businesses, the excess businesses, that we will try to reduce them, to get air out of them, to release people from all these fake businesses. They're just damaging us at the end of the day. They're just playing with these papers, these green papers. And millions of people that will be unemployed. We must give everyone the integral education, everyone all day, from the morning till the night, like students. And that's how we do it. I'm not talking about kids that are in school and everything, of course. And you will see how in 2 weeks that a person goes into studying like this, how much he changes, how much he starts to grasp that there's no choice, that it's evolution. That's what we're doing. That's what would happen with us. He'll suddenly open his eyes and see, look, the world is changing and I'm not. So what should I do? I'm no longer suiting the new conditions. And look what we're causing the world. How can we want to continue in these businesses if in everything we're dealing with, everything's collapsing? Isn't it just blindness, terrible, dangerous blindness? Everything. With the oil, with pollution, with the global warming, everything. With the collapse, with the chance of war. All these things, this urge to control it, to maintain it at any price is very dangerous. So what you're actually saying, so we have to find a point to combine the two worlds, and through the integral education, and we shouldn't wait for nature to force us, because that is a world war. We don't know any other way to get out of things like this. We always did it with the world war, huge wars. Rav Laitman, thank you very much. We have to conclude. We will continue in the next shows to try to create this transition model. We understand the current crisis, and together we'll try to build this transition model. Thank you very much, Rav Laitman. Thank you very much, Igor. It was a very exciting program. Thank you to all our viewers. See you next time.